Welcome to the Gashacast, the podcast where we transform into a good podcast about X8. We're doing it one step at a time, every episode. Every episode we die henshin and level up.
Level up!
Die henshin!
Yeah. So today we're talking about Kamen Rider X8 Episode 4. The mission called Dash, I believe, is what the title is.
I think it is.
But before that, we've got news!
Oh, we do? Oh, wait, first, I'm Rad, and everybody else should introduce themselves too.
Oh my god!
Fucking dummies.
Hey, I'm Sean!
Hi, I'm Mage.
Oh, and
Introduce yourself, host!
what? I already did!
Did!
Oh.
Jeez!
Do it better.
Oh my god, you're watching...
I am your lead writer, Kamen Rider Spider! Webs activate!
That's better. I like that.
私は正義の銀河カメライダーメイジ
Stop rubbing in your skill.
Radrock Kaizo Ningen.
Excellent work.
I think what I said was I'm the galaxy's justice.
Oh.
That's fine. That's a cool fucking intro.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's cool. Oh, jeez. So after those incredibly recognizable intros, news? Huh?
News.
Oh my god, this is a fucking disaster already.
No, it's great.
Don't worry
Shut
about
up.
it. So our first piece of news is that a certain wrestler is going to be appearing in the next Kamen Rider crossover movie. Rad here is our most experienced with wrestling stuff, so I feel like he should take the lead.
Yeah, I'm the genuine wrestle boy in here, and we're going to have...
I like wrestling too, my god. Just because I have tits doesn't mean I don't like wrestling.
I know you like wrestling. How much do you know about Hiroshi Tanahashi, though?
Alright, good point. I'm mostly WWE.
Well, Hiroshi Tanahashi is one of the most popular wrestlers in New Japan. Like, New Japan Pro Wrestling, a big wrestling promotion. One of the biggest wrestling promotions in Japan.
Hideo Itami, for those of you who keep up with like NXT and stuff, actually started in NJ New Japan Pro Wrestling. Was that what it was called?
Yeah, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, Hideo Itami actually started out in that. So
He and
not
Hiroshi
just him,
have wrestled, haven't they? Probably.
Probably, but I wouldn't really know that much. I haven't seen his like whole career or whatever. I've seen some matches, but like not a whole ton. For the record, like there's a lot of people that are coming over from Japan right now going into WWE, but that's not totally important. But the biggest thing is that, like, he has, for a very, very long time, been a huge tokusatsu nerd. Like, he is not only just taken part in a lot of stuff regarding tokusatsu, he's, like, had roles in a lot of things as well. He was in the opening music video, the music video for the opening, rather, of Kamen Rider Wizard.
Life is showtime.
Yeah.
Life
And-
is showtime, torikiri no umana life mutashika no.
There she goes. She's doing the singing
100%
thing.
more singing, as promised.
For
That's-
anyone who's listening to the podcast and they don't like my voice, one, get fucked, and two, I'm sorry.
Those are two, like,
complete
completely
opposites.
contrasting... Yeah, those are complete contrasting, like,
Statements.
sentiments.
Well, what I mean was like, okay, like, fuck you if you don't like my voice, but if you don't like me constantly singing, then, like, I'm sorry, but that's something I do.
So Hiroshi as Brad was saying, has been in not only just the Life is Showtime music video, but also the Kamen Rider Girls Kamen Rider V3 music video, and he was a protagonist in Garo. He was a Makai Knight. I believe...
we don't speak of Garo here.
Why not?
My first Garo was Yami Terra, so...
Well, I've never watched any Garo, so...
It's bad.
Yeah, neither have I.
Okay. Well, we'll avoid Yami...
I'm probably going to, eventually.
We'll avoid that particular bad Garo in this podcast about X-Aid, where we will have to avoid it.
God, this is a goddamn disaster.
No, it's great. Shut up. Stop bringing it up.
This is quality entertainment.
We're doing perfectly fine.
The best way to get good is to constantly say that you're great and never make any opportunity to improve yourself.
We're the fucking best podcast on the internet. Everyone else can go get fucked. The Breast Friends don't know how to make a podcast. Fucking Giant Bomb don't know how to make a podcast.
Wait, on the off chance that any of you guys who are like the big podcasters are listening to this, we don't mean any of this. We don't mean any of this.
Oh boy.
If any of you are listening to this, get fucked. We're better.
I hope none of them are. Well, I don't think that anyone is going to take those very legitimate threats seriously. So, yeah, but back to Tanahashi. He holds the title for longest championship belt defense, and he's a big Kamen Rider nerd who I hear uses Kamen Rider catchphrases and dresses in Rider-themed costumes in the ring. And that's awesome, and they're fucking bringing him in to be, should I say what character he is?
Well, you might as well.
Alright, so he will be the ally of Dr. Pac-Man, Soji Reyes, who becomes the Roboru Bugster. And this Bugster is basically the main villain from what I can tell, and we'll be using a prototype version of I believe it's called Gekiso Robots, another game that we haven't seen yet.
And it's actually that, I was about to say Switch. The fucking Gashat, is actually going to be showing up in the next episode, in episode 5. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it appears in the previews, so I knew about it, but I don't know why I was pretending I didn't. Have you guys seen the clip of him in the movie?
I don't think I have.
No, I haven't.
Well, it's a clip of him in the Genom Corporation headquarters pointing a gun, a small machine gun at Dan, and he's got some cronies around him, too.
Same.
So,
something...
Dan Caroto is a bitch.
Something that I found out, or rather, not so much found out, but, very much hoped for, is that because he and a lot of the, cronies that he has around him, including Dr. Pac-Man, all are wearing, white suits and everything, I'm very, very much hoping that it is a return of Foundation X to the franchise.
Somehow I sincerely doubt that.
No, I want to believe.
Right.
Because Foundation X was my favorite fucking, villain corporation type thing that we've had in a little while now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was desperately hoping for a pretty long time that they would eventually become, new Shocker. I kind of thought for a little while, and then all of the more recent movies told me to go fuck myself, but I had a idea for a little while that Shocker was probably a little bit too old hat at this point, and we needed something that was a bit, more modern and everything, and Foundation X had that going on for it. But then, like I said, the newer movies told me to go fuck myself.
I understand the idea, because it's a really cool idea to have basically a like constant enemy for like the other writers to like still be fighting, that maybe like even ties the stories of like various crossover movies together as like part of an arc, but that is way too much forethought for Toei.
Well, they did it for Mega Max, and this seems to be Mega Max 2, but with Pac-Man.
I don't know.
Pac-Man confirmed for Public Enemy #1.
What do you guys think of the Roboru Bugster design?
Like like just the robot design for him?
Yeah, his Bugster form.
In general, I think that it looks fairly neat. It looks, having seen how the suit looks for Gekitotsu robots on Xaid, whatever you want to call them. Having seen that, it looks basically just like a corrupted version of him, and I am down for that all the time. I love that kind of thing of just having a more mechanical, more monster-looking version of a rider suit. It's my shit.
Honestly, I kind of don't like it. Like, just... I mean, like, the chest plate and the big robot arm is cool, but, like, the non-robot arm and, like, the lower body, it seems kind of, like, boring, and I think his head looks kind of silly. Sorry to be a downer.
No, it's fine. I think that it looks silly a bit, yeah. It doesn't help that, like... really looking at it, he has the fucking prototype like thing, the prototype Gashat sticking out of the side of his head.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Yeah, he does. He has that thing, and I don't know really why he does, but it's fucking goofy looking. But as much as, like, most of the design isn't all that inspiring, the fact that it's still got some of the neater things that I like about it going on for it is pretty much enough for me to be like, yeah, it's not the best, but I'm down for it regardless.
Alright.
What do you think of it, Mage?
Yeah, you've been quiet.
I just... first of all, you guys didn't really give me an opportunity to, like, butt in, and I felt kind of rude if I kind of butted in. But, you know, it looks good. I don't really have an opinion on it either way.
Alright.
That's fair enough.
Feel free to butt in.
I feel like I am being rude when I'm doing that.
Well, in that case...
do it, though, because I talk too much.
In that case, I'll try to pause more, when I'm done speaking or something. I don't know.
I'm really sorry. It's social anxiety.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'll see if we'll just try to be more helpful and let you jump in is all.
Thanks.
If that's all we have to say about Hiroshi, I think we could move on to Power Rangers.
Yeah, let's talk about Power Rangers in this Kamen Rider podcast.
Well...
Well, what we're going to say is that for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers reboot movie coming out next year, they have released the Morphers.
Yeah.
Or at least the promotional pictures of the Morphers.
Or at least the promotional pictures of the toy of the Morphers.
Yeah, it could be any of those things.
No, that's literally what it is, the last thing I said.
Oh. Well... regardless,
coming to retailers soon. It's always the toys that let you know. Yeah, and as we were saying before we started the podcast, it looks a lot like a Kamen Rider driver.
Yeah, like honestly, like with the coin in it, like the first thing I thought was, oh, this looks almost exact. This looks like way too much like O's to be comfortable.
Um, I don't know about O's, but it looks a lot like Kamen Rider Ichigo's Cyclone with like the spinning lines around it. It even functions. It appears to even function exactly like the old toy with the lever on the top.
Oh yeah, I forgot that the old toy had like the lever on the top to like make the little thing open and close, which looks like it's gonna do the same thing for this.
Yeah. The old Kamen Rider toys, the belts in the show didn't work the buttons and switches into the show yet. But it looks very reminiscent of the Dino bucklers still, and I mean, it is a belt buckle, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I like about the toy more than I like about the actual on-set thing for it, unless the coins themselves get more like the toy here. The thing that I like is that they look more like actual coins, where from the footage that we saw from the movie so far, they still look like nice round discs and everything, but they look a lot more stone-like.
They
Honestly,
look like
they look like cookies to me.
they look like you could use them as coasters.
Yeah, a little bit.
They look like you could eat them.
They look like those like chocolate coins that you would get, and you have to take off the foil and shit.
Oh, I was thinking more like sugar cookie.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, with just like the food coloring dye in the middle.
I guess it sort of looks like that. I guess
Trini's coin
looks more like
Trini's
looks
coin
more like chocolate coins to me.
Trini's coin almost goes invisible with that yellow on yellow.
The pink isn't like the pink doesn't seem like the right color. It's a bit too light. I feel it needs to be a bit darker.
Maybe that's so the pink will show up in the toy better.
Maybe, I don't know. It does seem to light up to kind of turn the looks like the Tyrannosaurus one into a orange thing instead of red. That's a little counterintuitive, but I'm not like complaining because I love orange.
It's a little unclear. What I took away mostly from this is that I was surprised that we were even getting morphers. I mean, I guess it makes sense. We gotta get those toys in, but like looking at the trailer and people's response to it, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is so on Power Rangers-y," but in the like all of the like the official statements being released after that trailer come out, it's all like, "Yeah, we got Goldar, we got Putties, we have morphers."
I haven't like the most that I've seen is mostly just people saying that most of the designs are kind of ugly, but from the trailer at least the story looks nice. So I'm hoping for the best.
Reminds me of Dino Thunder. What do you think, Mage?
I I still really have no opinion. I know that this podcast is all about opinions, but I'm just like, yes, these are opinions, but I don't have them.
You don't feel strongly about the upcoming Power Rangers movie in any way, about anything?
Oh, the Power Rangers movie itself, all I can really say is that it doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to be. It looks just like a superhero Breakfast Club AU.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way about it in that, like, until the trailer came out, like, the proper trailer for it, I was like, this is gonna be pretty bad. And now I think that it's not gonna be great, but at least it has some, like, something going for it in that all the characters look at least pretty likable, especially Billy, who seems like a real fun time.
That was the same reaction I had. I was, up until the trailer came out, I was like, man, Zoo's gonna suck, but I guess all Power Rangers sucks, I guess. And then the trailer came out and I was like, man, this looks like good Power Rangers. Like, I mean, like it could be an okay movie overall, and I might have fun watching it.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Before we move on, I just want to say that my biggest problem with the movie, and this is kind of like a double-edged sword kind of subject, but like when I watched the original Power Rangers when I was younger, I was like immediately latching on to Zack in the crew because like not only did he have my name, but he also was a cool-ass black guy that kicked ass all the time, and it's like, that's fucking really cool. And the biggest bummer is that, like, they decided to change the races around, and that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that because, like, in some cases it was really needed because the casting ideas in the first Power Rangers were not great.
Yeah, you can't have a conversation about Power Rangers casually with anyone without people bringing up two certain casting choices.
Yeah.
Possibly 3 with, I think Tommy was Irish. Well, the person that plays Tommy is Irish. I forget his name, but
Jason David Frank?
I could be wrong. Yeah, Jason David Frank. I think that he's Irish, but I don't know.
That menace, JDF, decrying the Power/Rangers special and saying that Power Rangers should be for kids. What a menace.
I did not like the Power/Rangers fan movie at all.
It was not great.
None of us liked it, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, can we actually move on to doing...
Yeah, let's talk about EX8, because that episode was a good episode. I like that episode a lot.
Yeah, alright. Forget the rest of the stuff. There's nothing important to talk about anyways. Okay.
I feel like that, like, me and Rad are, like, the only two who actually, like, legitimately liked the episode.
Really?
Really?
I've been getting a lot of negativity from people, and, like, that's cool. They can not like what they want to not like, and whatever. But, like, it does come off as, like, people are really getting tired of the things that X8 is putting down at the moment.
It's episode 4.
You think people are being too harsh on it too early on?
Yeah, I do. I think that people are being a bit too harsh on it, but they can feel how they want. It's whatever. I just
my
really
biggest
love
thing
it.
about it is that, like, I understand, like, people have legitimate criticisms, and, like, I agree with some of these criticisms, but it seems to be all that they're talking about right now. And it kind of gives me a headache that, like, people are just like, oh, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. That's the exact problem I have with people talking about Zyuohger so much. Mm-hmm. People just keep, like, bashing on the negative, the negative, the negative, the negative, the negative.
There's not enough discussion about the positive elements that we like.
Yeah, that's, like, my big problem with, like, a lot of things. And, like, I understand why people do it, and I'm not saying that, like, these people are wrong for criticizing the media that they choose to ingest, but you have to sometimes step back and say, okay, am I just being far too critical of this? And a lot of the times, people are being just far too critical.
Well, I don't know if they're seeing it that way. I mean, I am beginning to feel like maybe our particular corner of the writer fandom is getting a little cynical, and maybe we should try to put a little positivity out there and try to affect change in it.
Yay.
We absolutely need the power of positivity around us all the time, which is why I have called on the New Day to be part of the podcast. And
it's a new day.
What is this?
Yes,
bit?
It is. It's fine. It's for the people that know about wrestling, like me and Mage. It's fine.
All
so,
right.
like, us.
You sort of know about wrestling, Sean, but like you don't know a lot.
Oh, absolutely. No competition here. I will not try to pass myself off as anything less than a wrestling know-nothing.
But altogether, even though I do feel like people are being very negative on the series, I can see that if it kept up the way that it has been, it would go into a bad place, which I feel a lot of people are being wary of. They just hope that it doesn't keep the same pace that it is going at. I'm seeing the episodes as they are, and like taking them in as that and going back from there. But like, when I really think about it, if it did continue down the path that it has laid out for itself so far, it could end up in a bad place. But right now, I feel like with the character motivations that are going around for all of the characters so far, it doesn't have any real showings of it going bad just yet.
Right.
It's not going completely fucking pear-shaped yet.
Yeah.
So on a level, it's definitely too early to tell, but from how you're feeling about these episodes so far, you're saying that there's like no real evidence to suggest that things are gonna go down the shithole.
Not yet. I feel like there's like an argument to be made that with some of the characters being how they are, they could end up in bad places that could end with the series going in some of the more negative sides that we've already seen from past Kamen Riders. But so far, I think the main problem is that we're stuck in a place where I hope that we get out of it pretty soon. But we're stuck in a place where a lot of the show's focus is definitely on buy our toys. We have all these toys lined up for you right here. Buy them right now. Buy all of them right now. Here's a new toy this week. Here's a new toy this week. We got a new toy for you next week, motherfuckers. Buy it.
That's that's like the one big complaint I have about episode 5 is that they're introducing the robot upgrade just way too early for me.
Okay, I think that's fair. The way I was looking at it is that the robot upgrade was kind of equivalent to like the heroic icons.
It sort of is. Like, the main thing behind it is that the Gashats are, like, there's less of them by and large than the ones from, like, the icons from Ghost. And that's perfectly fine, but because of their nature and the way that outside of the main forms that we've all already seen, they work essentially as upgrades. It kind of makes it so that we're getting them in a powered up form rather than another form that is good at a different thing.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a power up form. I mean, it's explicitly called level 3, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Which is like part of the big reason why it is one of the bigger problems at the moment is that it is absolutely an upgrade. And we're getting an upgrade in episode 5. And, like, as much as it isn't, like, gonna be anywhere near the same kind of power that we see later on with some of the upgrades that we see in the magazine scans and whatnot in the, like, market scans and whatever, it is still an upgrade in episode 5. Instead of just another form that is equally as strong as the last one, but is better at a different thing.
All right.
Which feels soon.
Okay. Looking at the like progression of our like release of toys so far, we've got first episode, we got the Driver, Mighty Action X, and the Breaker. Second episode, we've got Tattle Quest and the Sword. Third episode, we've got Bang Bang Shooting and the Gun. And in this episode... and the Gun. Gun.
Gun.
And in this episode, we've got the bike game and the sports game. Well, the other bike game, kind of.
Back so bike.
And I guess, like, we're definitely seeing a significant increase because, like, in Ghost, we were getting, like, one icon an episode till Spectre showed up. And even then, things mostly stayed at, like, an average of one icon. But then when you count in weapons and stuff, too, I don't know. I think it's comparable.
It's comparable, but the main difference between the two is that, like, the fact that they're pushing toys isn't so much of a problem as much as it is their pushing of toys that are for upgrades to the suits that just straight up make the riders stronger, which is it because of that nature of it, where it is in fact a boost to their power rather than, like, say if you had the Nobunaga icon in the next episode. Well, no, that was a little while before it, but like you had the Nobunaga icon and you had the Robin Hood icon, for example. They're both on basically the same level of strength. It's just that, like, they do different things. One is better at shoot guns and the other is better at bow gun shooting things.
Shoot guns?
Shoot guns.
Yeah, shoot guns. Shoot guns bing.
Wait, is that what STG stands for? Shoot guns?
Well, shoot the gun.
Stylish tough guy?
Handsome.
No, we're not talking about the fucking handsome saga. That was the most let down thing
I
ever.
feel like definitely this whole power-ups conversation is maybe a conversation we should be having next time for episode 5.
Alright.
That's fair enough.
Back to action. The first topic I want to talk about now is Emu. I want to just go down the list and talk about everything. Like, how do you feel about Emu in this episode? Like, did we learn anything about him in this episode? Like, I feel like definitely in the past 2 episodes, I feel like I've learned something about him. Or, I don't know if that's true, but I don't know.
I feel like in this episode, he showed a lot of his, like, normal self. He didn't spend too much of the episode as M. He didn't spend too much of the episode, like, really doing a whole ton because he didn't have his Gashacast for most of it. But it definitely felt like this episode, more than the last few, were very much focused on the people around him rather than him himself. But we did see how much of a trusting guy he is. Even like with the guy that he meets just then with Kiria, he trusts the guy almost immediately, even if he was a bit of a weirdo. And I think that a lot more of the actions that happened to Emu spoke a lot more to Kiria's character in this episode.
So you would say that this episode is more Kiria's debut than it is Emu's depression at losing his henshin.
Yeah, he didn't spend a whole lot of the episode really depressed about it. He was all mopey and everything at the beginning, but like almost immediately got popped out of it because Kiria was a fucking weirdo at him.
Right.
Jesus Christ. I remember when I was watching the Raws and I saw Kiria, I'm like, this is going to be far too much for me. I can't deal with the kink rider.
When I watched the Raw of the episode, because I have no self-control and watch a stream of the Raw almost every week at this point. But when I watched the stream of the episode almost until the end, I was like, well, it's going to be a really powerful ship as soon as the episode came out, and then the end of the episode happened, and I was like, oh, never mind.
You still don't think I ship it?
Well, no, people are still going to ship it. I'm.
Should we go directly should we go directly into talking about the deception now, since it's such an important part of the episode?
Oh, definitely.
I think so, because, like, I have a lot of things to say about that, and it all relates to... felt like Kiria had a really good character moment throughout the entire episode, specifically because of his deception and everything.
Is it a moment if it goes through the whole episode?
Moments don't have a specific length of time. It's fine. Moments are the most vague.
My thoughts on him. I don't know my emotions on Kiria, honestly. On one hand, he's a dick. And,
he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's absolutely a dick. But on the other hand, I find his motivations just super interesting. Because at the beginning, it's like, oh, I lost a friend to the Bugsters. And it's like, yeah, great, whatever. Fuck you. This is as predictable as it predictable gets. But then, like, at the end, when he deceived Emu and he was like, come on, I'm a coroner. I just want to study the Bugsters. I'm like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's really good.
How did you feel about how, like, you kind of made the prediction about, oh, Hiro lost his friend. Did you immediately call out Kiria's story as bullshit, or...
There was, like, I was, like, a half and half, honestly. Like, half of me was just, like... Actually, all of me was, like, pretty much in, like, this is pretty much bullshit. I'm like, so... When I saw the trailer, I'm just like, somebody already has this backstory. You can't just go and lift it wholesale.
Uh-huh.
The thing that I really like about Kiria in this case is that from the beginning of the episode, I didn't really know what his motivations were going to be. I didn't think that he really had a good motivation to betray him, and I was going in with the idea, in the subversion at least, I was going in with the idea that he was going to betray Emu, and I didn't know why he was going to.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was watching the episode, I was trying to put together in my mind why exactly he would do something like that. And the more that it went on, the more that it really clicked with me that his entire motivation for going with Emu, and why he will probably, until he gets his level 3, stay with Emu, is that he's the only one that he would be able to work with.
Mm.
Nobody else on the entire team that's a Kamen Rider at the moment are anywhere near, like, trustworthy enough or trustful enough to really get on his side.
Yeah,
so
I was actually going to talk about that, how, like, his level 2 powers, he needs to be able to cooperate with someone. So I thought, okay, maybe this is part, like, I took that as, like, a mechanic of the show, a sign telling me that, like, he's not going to be a dick forever, and that he needs to learn to team up with someone.
He needs to learn to not be a dick.
The something that I liked about it in general is that he seemed to know just what he needed to say to get on Emu's good side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his whole talking about how he lost somebody in the 0 Day incident wasn't for anybody else except Emu. Like, it seemed like he went in with a plan to get Emu on his side because Emu is the only one that would be able to trust him. Emu is the only one that he would be able to trust not to steal his, Gashat from him in the first place. And on top of all of that, it seems like he was going straight off of Emu's want to help people to get what he needed.
One thing that I was thinking about is that how we see him watching the events in all 3 of the previous episodes, but he jumps in to be involved when Emu's lost his Gashat, and Emu losing his Gashat, whether Emu falls for his tricks or not, is something that he can use to control Emu, or it's something that he could use to get into the situation and make Emu on his side, whether it's blackmail or just convincing.
I don't think that it's going to need all that much going into it. I think that it'll just have to come down to Emu feeling like he has to do something and ends up in situations where he needs a bike to keep up with somebody or needs to get to someplace fast. And Kiria is the only person he can trust to go with that. And even if he doesn't trust him completely, he's the only one that he's able to work with on that at all.
Sometimes you have to fuck a bike out of necessity. You have to fuck a bike out of necessity.
Jeez.
I was just gonna say that Kiria jumped in when somebody else was in a bad spot and needed help, because he needed help and he needed that person who was vulnerable and needed to prey on that vulnerability. Whether he realizes that he didn't need to do that at all or not.
I do think that he's not going to... I don't feel like most of the characters are going to end up staying jerks for very long. And I hope that everybody, at least almost everybody, gets on the same page fairly soon, and I'm hoping more than anything that in the next episode, because they make it pretty clear to show that Emu and Hiro are going to throw words at each other really, really mean. I hope that in the next episode, Hiro chills the fuck out a little bit and gets more on Emu's side. It already seems like he is on the right side of things, but I'd like him to have a better relationship with Emu so that we have less jerks running around.
I honestly think next episode, Hiro is going to actually chill out a little bit. He's going to realize that M is sometimes actually in the right, and just kind of chill, cool your jets.
That definitely seems possible with Emu getting his upgrade form. I wonder how this conflict between them will tie into the upgrade, if at all possible, because I do like it when character development happens to coincide with power upgrades.
Yeah, I like that a whole lot as well, because at the moment we're getting a good idea for some of the characters and how they are just as people, but we haven't gotten a whole lot of development out of them, and that I think is a big part of what people are really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably move on to the next thing on the list of things to talk about, which is something that we've sort of already been talking about, in that, is there too much of a jerk problem in Kamen Rider X-Aid? Is there too many people that are just kind of against Emu at this point?
Here's how I see it. Okay, here's how I see it. The way that it is now, yes, there are way too many dicks in the bag. But what's going to happen is that they're going to undick themselves very quickly. I can't think of a better word for that.
No, undick is real good.
Yeah, they're like Hero next episode. I definitely feel that he's going to undick and
the penis.
And like we're introducing like a bunch of jerks now, but they're not going to be jerks forever. Like with the exception of Gem and maybe
probably Taiga's going to be a jerk for a good amount of time.
The way that I kind of see Taiga working out is that he's going to be kind of the friendly rival. Like it's not going to be like 100% evil, but like when it counts, he's going to help people. But he also just kind of wants to fight Xaid all the time. So like the patient's life comes first, but also it's just fun to beat Xaid.
Uh-huh.
Tatake.
That does, I mean, there is some similarities between this and Ryuki, maybe. I mean, if you look at Ryuki, the writers who stuck around longest were Ryuki itself, Knight, Zolda, and Oja.
Let's hope that nobody eats mud in Xaid.
No, but Taiga already does.
So one likable guy diet. And 3 dudes who are kind of definitely, but also arguably, one definitely and 2 arguably, like complete evil dicks.
Well, as things go, I think that like one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to in Xaid is the unprickening, as it seems to be like heading towards being called. But like I hope that it happens sooner rather than later for some of the characters. If Taiga stays a dick for a fairly long time, I'm fine with that. But Hiro and Emu need to get on the same page.
Right. And I think that we're going to see that soon, because in the episode, they're like, all right, we got 5 players. That means everyone's here. And I'm like, oh. And, like, sure, there might be more writers later. But that, like, confirmed to me in my mind. I had a moment where I was just like, oh, right. We've established all of the characters, all the main characters now. And we can actually just get into their character development and stuff happening in the next couple episodes.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like, with all the like character introductions out of the way, the only thing that we really have going on going forward is getting some revelations about characters. We're going to get a fairly big one next episode. But more than anything, I'm hoping that, well, even if in the next couple episodes, which I hope that they spread it out just a bit more than I think they will, but if in the next couple episodes we get all of the level 3 forms for these guys, it would still be pretty much just fine if we get a less of that and more of the character development. And I think that we will. I hope that we will.
I don't know. I'm fairly confident in that we're going to get more character development because, you know, I got fan fictions I need to write.
You have faith.
I have faith, and if that faith turns out to be completely betrayed, I have fan fiction.
Well, that's good. I'm looking at my notes here. They're a little more scratchy than my other ones. For example, I was puzzling over this one that just says lies in all caps, and then I realized it was referring to Kyria.
My notes are literally just like a small note card, and it says, "Sweet boy, dick, no, fuck, what."
Maybe we should take more detailed notes next time. The next
one of my notes just says, "God, Kyria is a weirdo. What do I even say about him?" I will say I like Excite's choice of having him call Emu Ace
instead of Master. Oh my god, thank you, Excite subs, the two of you. Jesus Christ, you guys are angels. Also, bit unrelated, but I have a red leather jacket, and I'm totally gonna do a sexy female Kyria cosplay.
I look forward to it. This kind of goes into talking about two of the jerks.
Hiro and Taiga.
Yeah, Hiro and Taiga.
Yeah. Well, what did you guys think of? Do you guys have anything to say about them this episode? Because I mean, the main focus of the episode was Kyria and Emu to a lesser extent. What do you think of them?
Well, first of all, I think that the something precious turning out to be the Gashats was absolute bullshit.
I don't think that it was, though.
No,
I don't think that's what it was supposed to be.
The way you
was
read
just calling it precious.
The way you read the line, it definitely, while he used the word precious for both things, in the situation earlier, he was like, "Oh, he took something precious from me," and then in the other situation, it's like, "Oh, he takes something precious like that away from someone else." Oh, he would also take precious things away from other people.
I think in the end, I don't think it was a Gashat that he was talking about when he said he took something precious from him, because Taiga didn't know until that moment that Gashats were like one-of-a-kind things.
Right.
He only called them precious because he found that out at that moment.
I think it's just an unfortunate coincidence.
Yeah, sorry. I shouldn't have spoken.
Huh?
No. I actually wanted to talk to you about that before, because I wasn't sure if that was the case.
Yeah.
When you brought it up.
This is an important discussion.
It was a confusing bit at the time, because I think it was somewhat of Excite's like.
It was slightly clumsy.
Yeah, because they use the same words going forward between like 2 episodes, just about. Well, actually, exactly 2 episodes. And in doing so, it led to a bit of a confusing situation. And all that really was just setting it straight, because, like, yeah, I think that it legitimately is like an important person was taken from Taiga. Not Taiga, Hiro. And Excite might have just been a bit too like green behind the ears to really catch that it might be a bit confusing.
I actually also kind of wanted to talk about Hiro with that asking for the Gashats, because it kind of showed a little bit of tsundere in him. He was like, we can't trust M with the Gashat, give me another one. And while that could be read as like he doesn't trust M with the Gashats, that could also be read as, oh, well, he doesn't want M to not be able to transform.
It could be possible that by asking for more Gashats, he could use Emu as an ally if he needs them.
It definitely feels like he has... This episode was weird for him, for Hiro in general, because it seemed like he spent a lot of the episode not knowing what... Oh, excuse me. Not knowing what the fuck was going on.
Excuse your French.
Like, he ended up asking a lot of questions, which put him in a position of looking a bit like a geek when all he really had going for him was he's strong and is serious and everything, but he doesn't have a good control of the situation like he might have thought that he did. So
definitely
it ended up with it being in an interesting situation with him, because boy, he looked kind of silly just asking all these questions and not knowing what was going on.
Give me all of the Gashats. You have those, right? This wouldn't be a problem, would it? And Taiga also just kind of gets checked in on by Kiria. He's not much of a dark doctor if people can just find him, I guess.
Well, no, he has to still get his pay and everything. He's just doing black market fucking surgeries now and shit. I mean, it was basically the same thing with Blackjack in Blackjack, where he could just... You can find him up in his stupid cottage in the hills and everything. He's easy enough to find. He's just, like, out of the way. Instead, in this case, Taiga's just in his fucking filth hole of a run-down hospital, I guess, and I don't know what his deal is, really, but he needs to get some better digs.
He's doing it all for the aesthetic.
So do we have anything else we want to say about those two?
They were in the background this episode, but I feel like that was a good thing.
Yeah, it seemed like they put a lot of the characters in tiny little cages to, like, put them off to the side so that they didn't get too much in the way of, like, Kiria's character introduction.
I'm sorry, but when you said that, all I can imagine is just, like, they put the little, like, level 1 gremlin forms into little cages.
Gay baby jail, that's where they belong.
All secondaries go to gay baby jail.
Oh my god.
I do have one thing, and it's sort of... It's related to Genom. And it's that I don't... Like, throughout all these episodes, his motivation so far is the most confusing one, because, like, I know who Genom actually is. I know his actual identity, but I won't say it on here.
Okay.
Like, almost everybody knows it, but for the time being, what comes to mind is that I don't understand both why he is coming to break up fights and not just taking care of the writers completely.
He's on his way to fuck shit up. That's a...
Yeah, he's, you kind of have me at a disadvantage here because you know who he is, but, definitely I thought it was, just an odd Tokusatsu thing that he wasn't finishing them off when he had the chance.
I think it's not even just that. It's like, I don't understand why he's breaking up fights, because there was no reason for him to jump in between the Hero and Taiga fight. He just kind of did, and then he backed off immediately.
I have a theory, but that's kind of going into... Well, I'll say it anyways, but I'm going to keep it as vague as I possibly can.
Okay.
Genom is doing this so... Genom is doing this so he can have the writers focus on the most important thing, which is the patient. And, like, he's just, like, fucking shit up when other people are, like, trying to fight each other, because it's just like, oi, patient is more important.
So you're suggesting that Genom is actually on the writer's side?
I don't think that's true, but I think there's something important regarding the patient, the writers, and the bugsters. Like, more so than just, like, they are, like, opposed by nature. It feels like it is an important piece of the puzzle with the Bugsters at the moment.
Sorry.
If that is the case, then it needs to be that the Bugsters need to be around Riders, or Riders need to be around Bugsters, and they have to work together somehow.
This is a little...
It's mysterious.
This is a little confusing, but I think I kind of get the idea that, like, he might be an ally because he's not finishing them off. But I don't know, because in the preview of the next episode, he's all spooky and being all like, you gotta Tatakai, you gotta fight, you gotta be strong to survive, or something.
What the hell is that accent?
Yeah, I don't know what that accent was.
That's the spooky accent, the accent of a spooky voice.
That's not a spooky voice.
That sounds more like the accent of, like, a gangster.
Yeah, it sounded like a very, like weird gangster.
Well, I wasn't even intentionally doing it, so let's ignore that. So Genom shows off before anybody else the power to level up, and what did you think of that?
Ugly.
Oh.
It's bad. It is the least good looking level 3 form of all of them. I've seen all of them so far, and fucking it sucks. It's really funny. It's fucking hilarious, but it sucks. It's bad.
Yeah, Genom's the like bright pink and green X8 colored bike compared to like the dark purple and black of the Proto Mighty Action X doesn't work at all. But speaking of level 3 forms, just one side note, I'm so excited for M to get the jerk-off arm.
His fucking gamer hands.
Compared to sports, I definitely thought that robots looked cooler in the preview for next episode. He's kind of going more into those protagonist colors. Now that you're mentioning that, like, the sports armor was the same color as X8, I wonder what X8 would look like wearing it.
A mess?
Probably. He'd look better than Genom.
I think that the pink and lime green is kind of a fun thing, and it kind of makes sense that Genom's power-up form would be, like, he's prototype Mighty Action X. It kind of makes sense to me that his upgrade form would have Mighty Action X colors. I think.
Yeah, I feel like that's true enough, and, like, I've made a case before that I feel like eventually Emu is going to get sports, and it'll, like, mash pretty well with his colors, and it'll look slightly better, but, like, in general, between all of the level 3 suits, it is just the worst one. All of the other ones look significantly cooler than that one does, and I think the biggest problem with it is that it, like, a lot of the other forms have a nice flow to them on the suit themselves, but in this case, he just has a bike folded around his body slightly, and he has fucking tires hanging from his, like, shoulders, like shoulder pads, but they don't fold over at the tires like a shoulder pad would. It just kind of, it looks fucking ugly.
Well, I didn't think it looked that bad. The suit that I think looks the worst so far is Laser's level 1 form with that goofy head with the giant steering wheels.
I love it so much. It looks so dumb, and I just want to hug it.
I think that it looks goofy and everything, but he also has a big pink spiky mohawk, so I forgive him for everything.
I'm so glad that sentence didn't go where I thought it was going.
What?
Where would it go, Mage? Where would it... I'm not saying he has a fucking red rocket or something.
Oh, God.
This isn't going anywhere.
Just go ahead and use those freaking handles for fucking him. Alright? Get it out of your system!
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry I'm like
this.
I'm sorry you're like this too. Anyways.
Burn.
My face is literally flushing right now. Why am I like this?
Don't worry about it. This is what Kamen Rider is.
This is what Kamen Rider is now.
This is what we've come to.
So in the preview for the next episode, it is like Genm's identity revealed, but like probably not actually going to be revealed to other characters. Maybe it's going to reveal who he is to the audience, in which case I'm going to be hyped for watching that next episode. Although I like his spooky voice that he uses for talking and hiding his voice, because it's like, ooh, he's like a spooky serial killer character.
You mean the voice that you get when you have like those voice modulated Darth Vader masks and shit? Yeah, I love it.
All right, I don't know what that sounds like, but
it sounds bad.
Oh jeez. Anyways, what did you guys think of the return of Mighty Action X to Emu? Was it a thing? Was it not a thing? Was it?
It was fine. It moved along the story in a fast-paced way, and there probably wasn't going to be a better way of doing it. Like, there's like no way that it could have ended in a more satisfying way. Also, for the record, everybody, Mage just got disconnected. Sorry about that. She'll maybe come back in a little bit. For the time being, though, it is just me and Sean.
Oh.
Oh
God, we're carrying on without her. I'm not ready to be a soldier.
I am.
Fuck. And I said I would leave you behind. Christ. The battlefield. No, my comrade.
Stop screaming into your mic, you fucking madman. People are listening to this.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll edit this whole thing out. Shit.
The thing is, regarding all of this, is that I don't think that there is going to be a much better solution than just kind of yoinking it out of the pocket of fucking Snipe. There's nothing better that they could have done regarding it. It just kind of needed to happen.
I guess. I mean, it's just kind of like dishonest. I guess it's foreshadowing of what an underhanded jerk Kiria is.
Yeah, but like, to be fair, like, Taiga isn't the best person ever, so like Kiria fucking him over on the low like that, I don't mind. I don't mind it, because like, until Taiga is a proper good guy, like, they can screw him over as much as they want. I hope they don't do it too much so that he doesn't have a reason to not be a good person eventually, but on the whole, I don't feel like we missed all that much from it being a bit more of a long, drawn-out thing.
Okay. I mean, I've been thinking about this, and like, while something about it rubs me the wrong way, I can't identify what that is or what I would rather they did. Maybe I would just rather this whole losing your powers plot happened later and got more fully explored in an episode, rather than I don't know. I mean, I guess it also kind of works as Kiria's introduction, because he introduces himself as a hero who helps Emu and gets him his powers back, and then kind of turns his back on Emu. Oh well, I can't come up with something better than that. But something about this episode was like kind of off. I still liked the episode mostly, but there were some rough edges on this one that I didn't. There were elements of this episode that sort of took me out of it that episode 2 and 3 didn't have.
I can understand that. Like, as much as I did like the episode for what it put forward, it was probably the weakest one so far, if only because it felt like it was it felt like somewhat predictable, because of the things that we've talked about before between, like, Kiria's backstory and his reasons for being a Kamen Rider in the first place.
I
It didn't
was
match up.
actually completely blindsided by his deception, even though I should have seen it coming. I kept getting these, this scene is weird vibes throughout the whole episode, but I never put it together into my head to be like, maybe I shouldn't trust this guy.
I hope that he isn't, like, too much of a dick. I want him to, in the next episode, still be on somewhat good terms with Emu, but, like, his character description, when we got a lot of the character descriptions in the first place, was that he seemed like a genuinely okay guy, but liked to mess with Emu a whole lot. And I, like, even if he isn't the greatest person ever, I'm fine with that being his character, of being kind of like a chaotic, good type character.
Is he the Zolda of Xaid?
No. No, I want him more to be like
his own thing.
What's a good I don't know who he should really be like. I just want him to be his own character, I guess.
Right. That makes sense. It's kind of redundant to always be like, man, I want the characters to act like these characters I already know. And, like, I definitely, while I can see similarities between our current characters and previous ones, I can see these guys, evolving into, like, their own unique beings, with some good character development down the line. So, like, I'm excited about, the possibilities for this cast and for the themes of the show and, like, what those could be,
Yeah, I feel you on that. I don't know where exactly the characters are all going.
That's a good thing, though.
But I hope that it all ends up in a good place where I think that it's going. I have things that I think might end up being how they play out, but for the most part, I'm just hoping that most of the characters end up in a position where they can all work together properly and not still be trapped within the boundaries of the first 4 episodes of the series, where they are all just bickering over their own personal disputes and whatnot.
If I had to make any predictions about how the characters are going to progress, I think that Emu could possibly become more powerful and competent than the other writers in the first quarter of the series already. And, well, I don't know. Where I see it could potentially going is either soon or later. That could possibly happen. I think that Hiro being shown up by Emu might help him figure his shit out and maybe chill out if Emu proved himself. Kiria needs to have basically the shit kicked out of him. Well, maybe not that, but he needs to see the error of his ways for betraying. Basically, he needs to see that he needs Emu. As funny as that sounds. And what Taiga needs, I'm not sure.
I think what Taiga needs is to get over himself, because it seems like I've brought it up before in that it seems like more than anything his character wants to fix personally what happened on Zero Day. Whether it is so that he can get his own personal revenge, or because he feels like he is the only one that is suitable for it, or if possibly he feels like
guilty
by some kind of guilty by it, some kind of reasoning behind it, where it's only right that he is the one that fixes it. He needs to get over himself on that shit so that he can get some help on this, because there's no way on earth that his stupid ass is going to beat any of the higher tier generals of the cast as time goes on, and it's definitely going to end up biting him in the ass and hopefully eventually get him into a better mind space where he can actually get some help, actually help people, do good, be a hero.
Yeah. This is definitely like a show that's like hard to predict what's going to happen, perhaps because of like the fast pace, or just because like at this point it almost doesn't feel like we have the foundation for the series yet. I'm hoping that next episode will like clear things up for me, because I was feeling pretty like strong on the foundation of the last two episodes, but this one has kind of thrown me off balance, and I need things to like right themselves next episode so that I like know where we stand.
Yeah, the next episode I hope is going to be a lot more solid than this one, because this one was a good episode regardless, but it lacked the solidarity across the board that the other episodes did. And it mostly came down to how the episodes before all had something that was really impressive, I guess. And this one sort of did. It had the bike race. The last episode with Taiga had all of the nice special effects that we talked about before. And the episode with Hero had all those sword references, had all the references in general throughout all of it. And this one just kind of like it had
a race.
Like the bike race was fine, but it didn't do a whole lot for me.
Honestly, I feel bad about that, because I'm always being like, man, I want more bikes in Kamen Rider. Where's the episode where it's just like bikes? And like I should have been excited for Laser, but I wasn't. And in this episode, I wasn't all that enthralled by the race, to be honest. Like I don't have really anything to say about the race or the Bugster, even though I have questions about this whole Nishiwaki and Bugster situation and how the race works and why did things happen the way they did. I really didn't understand what was going on in this episode, and like, dang. Like I enjoyed I enjoyed seeing some bikes, but like,
The problem with bikes in Kamen Rider is that a lot of people always really want more of it, and it's fair to want more of it, but like unless it is being used in an interesting way, like with the way that the bikes were used in Kuga, for example, when like you would do sick bike stunts and have bike fights and shit, like that was when it was really interesting and you could get a whole lot out of it. But like in a lot of cases now, most of the bike stuff ends up being glorified races. Well, this was just a straight up race. And like that ends up in it being a not very interesting thing. The best thing about the whole bike sequence in this episode was Emu's bike transformation, where like he just jumped off the bike and did his whole transformation jingle thing while still moving forward, which is a cool effect.
Yeah. But something bothered me about that though. Like looking at it, I don't want them to. I mean, it makes sense that they'll skip over level 1 when they're not fighting the first form of the Bugster. I just don't want to see level 1 forms going away. But what really bugged me is that I noticed for the first time with Kiria and Emu's transformations this week, what happens to their body when they level up? That's some Animorphs body horror shit.
Yeah, we don't really know. As far as we can probably tell, it like when they properly transform, they just turn into like a little ball in the head or whatever. Or maybe their anatomy just becomes one like a morph ball or something from Metroid. We don't fucking know. It's mysterious writer technology shit. But
this is a silly question, and it's never not going to have a silly answer.
It is never going to be explained in any meaningful way. And probably if it does get brought up at all, it's going to be brought up as a joke and answered as a joke.
All right. Sorry, I kind of I kind of interrupted things there and I lost my train of thought. But yeah, bikes. A Kuga bike duel. This is not.
Yeah.
And despite having a coroner getting all up in our main writer's face in this episode, like in Kuga.
Yeah, I wish that the coroner of this series was a bit more like the coroner of that one and just kind of stayed in a weird flooded basement all the time.
He didn't do that all the time. He even went on dates.
He did it all the time.
Remember the scene where he goes on a date and he's like, nice collarbones, and later he's like, the date didn't work out.
I forgot about that. God, he was a... Why are coroners and Kamen Riders so fucking weird? I mean, I'm sure that in real life they're not less weird, but...
I mean, that's kind of the stereotype.
Really
coroners
weird.
are considered weird because they're cutting up bodies all day, so they must have a weird mind if they can deal with that, or they deal with it by having a weird sense of humor about it, so they're considered weird people.
I guess. In the end, though, I hope that we do at least see one scene where Kiria's office, wherever that happens to be, is just flooded with shitty water all the time.
Where he gets to dissect a bugster?
Yeah. Like, there's no explanation for it there either. It's just happening.
I mean, we do set up in this episode that he wants to examine a bugster body, so, like, hey, maybe that will be a thing that we'll actually get to see happen in the series, and that could be something interesting.
It'd be pretty interesting, especially if we end up with needing to have the bugster body, like, examined for the very fact that, like, it maybe it ends up being the only way that they can get new Gashats eventually, is to check out what their body is doing, because, like, for all we know, the Rider Gashats might be more connected to the bugsters than we believe. Like,
well, I mean, they're pretty connected. The bugsters came out of the same games, the same 10 games that were in development.
Well, that's true, but, like, more than anything, it might be a bit more intense of a relationship than that, in that it might just turn out to be that, like, the bugsters were a virus that ended up making a new form of game. Like, what I would like it to be is something along those lines, where the bugsters were
predated the
like
games themselves.
Yeah, like it would end up being, again, another Yu-Gi-Oh fucking comparison, which I would love. I just want all the Yu-Gi-Oh comparisons for this series to be true.
We discovered this ancient potential danger. Put it in a
Let's
game.
make video games out of it.
What was I gonna say? Can you help me out here?
No.
Well, just backtrack what you were just saying.
Well, I can say that the
okay,
busters...
now I remember.
Oh, good.
The reason I was laughing there was that I was, like, remembering Hiro when he was asking for the Gashats. Is like, well, get me a copy of, like, the other games, and it's like, the Gashats are special. You can't just go into a store, buy a cartridge of a video game, and plug it into your belt. Like, fucking Hiro, shut up, you idiot.
Which is, like...
I think that's definitely in support of your theory, where it's like, the Gashats are absolutely special and one of a kind.
It's something that occurs to me because the bugsters all seem like they have complete control of the situation at the moment. I don't know why they feel so in control of it, but they don't seem desperate to move forward with their plans. They just want to literally play a game with these writers, and it ends up being... It seems like they're the ones that are in proper control of all this because they have more time behind them than we might think.
Actually, thinking about that now, that does explain my questions about this episode. I was like, huh? What's their intentions here? What's their motive? Why are they targeting this Nishiwaki guy? Why are they kidnapping his sister? And it's just like, oh, they wanted to have a Bugster compete in a game racing against a Kamen Rider.
Like, it just kind of comes off as them literally just playing around because they hold all the chips.
I just had an idea.
What?
You know how we see Parrot always playing games?
Yeah.
What if he's remote operating the Bugsters?
That'd be really good.
It's just like...
That'd be...
just like, I want to play a game against the Kamen Riders. I want a challenge.
That would be a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
Especially moving forward, because, like... It's like...
It would give him something to do other than stand behind Graphite and look pretty.
Yeah. And...
unless he's Skenem, which is... he's still possible. I mean, it could be him or Graphite or Dan or all of them. Or none of them.
Could it be?
Whatever, you fucking
could
knowledge-having nerd jackass.
Could it be anybody, or could it just be one person?
Well, I think it could be possible that, like... I mean, we've seen situations where it's like characters are, like, bonded in some way before. I almost wonder if, like, Dan and Parrot and Graphite are all, like, bonded in some way. Because we've definitely seen, like... kaijin that are attached to human beings before.
Well, the one thing that really stuck to me more than anything was in this episode, we saw a bit more of Zero Day, and we see that Dan was apparently in the room when...
I just put all 10 games up on my screen at once in little windows just because I wanted to admire the fact that we have 10 different video games in development at the same time.
Yeah, fuck, what kind of... that is a bad company strategy to begin with, and no wonder it took them 5 fucking years to make one video game when fucking that was their whole deal of making 10 games at once.
Well,
fuck.
They said, he said in that same scene, like, we have 4 games out now and we're working on the other 4. I think that the other 3 of the main 4 writers, their games already came out.
Well, those...
It would be nice if we knew more about what was actually going on the video game side of things. Besides the Emu's introductory scene where it makes the CPR joke, we haven't seen anybody except for, I guess, Parrot playing games in the actual game-themed Kamen Rider.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have the main theme of their suits and everything. We have...
Yeah, but, like actually just playing
the references. Yeah, that's true enough. The biggest thing to me is that it feels like we aren't getting a good idea of what gaming really means in the show. Which...
The only... remember how I said earlier... Well, I didn't say this, but episode 2 and 3 are kind of on a higher level to me, and episode 4 and 1 are kind of on a lower level for me.
Yeah.
The one thing that I wish I could add into episode 1 is a scene of Emu playing a video game and the M personality coming out, or just insert that into any episode. I want to see that personality actually come out when he's playing a game and not being a Kamen Rider.
That seems like something that will happen soon enough, but I definitely agree, because we have this vague idea of what they're trying to do with the whole M personality thing. We kind of see it in that he is more reckless, both to his advantage and to his downfall. And we see that he is more confident and less clumsy and better at fighting in general, like in that kind of headspace. And it's like the main reason why everybody's comparing it to
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Like Yu-Gi-Oh! At this point.
Because he just like becomes an intuitively good fighter in this situation for this like Kamen Rider game situation. He just, I guess it works in the same situation where it's like if you're intuitive at video games, you become intuitive at Kamen Ridering for some reason.
Well, it also helps that like it's based on video games, so like it possibly has the feel of video games, if you will. And like it just might come intuitively because it feels like video games. Like maybe it feels like you are holding a controller in your hand while you're being a Kamen Rider. Maybe you feel that kind of sensation from it that you do from playing a video game. Who knows?
You transform into a Kamen Rider and suddenly you see everything at 30 FPS.
But the thing that I hope more than anything is that we do get some things sorted out between characters by playing video games, like straight up video games, and
that would be fun.
I'm hoping for that from both like the standpoint of M and Emu and everything, but also from the standpoint of other characters. Because, like, we don't know why having a good idea of video games is important, but we also don't really see that in Hiro and Kiria. Like, they're both, like, they don't seem like they play video games. The only two that have anything around gaming in their backstory is Emu and Taiga. And
like, I like the show so far, but it definitely feels like a medical drama that also happens to have Kamen Riders, video game themed Kamen Riders, rather than a medical drama that like integrates video games into that part of the story.
Yeah. That's like my main problem so far as well. I just kind of hope that we get to a point where it becomes more of a thing.
I'm okay with just having honestly, I'm okay with having just a medical drama show and the video game stuff being kind of tangential to it as long as the writing is good. It just seems like a weird thing to do.
Yeah, it feels like if they didn't move forward with it properly, it would be a bit of a waste for using this specific gimmick for the series, when they could have a more proper, like, medical drama series going on instead of one that kind of ham-fistedly has video game stuff in it as well.
I wonder if the RPG genres that the characters use could be thematically relevant to their character, though, because Emu is like, he's kind of like friendly and like good with kids, and he's the platformer. Hiro wants to do everything like by himself, and he's the RPG guy. Taiga is like sort of seeing this as
he's standoffish.
Taiga sees this sort of as like a competition to see who can like do best, and it's like, you know, online shooter game, online multiplayer type situation. And I think that maybe Kiria sort of like okay, actually
his is rougher. We don't know a whole lot about him yet as a full character, because almost everything he said in that episode was fucking lies.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it could be something like he is racing everybody else to like figuring out what's actually going on here, that's kind of tenuous.
Yeah, it's a bit tenuous, but
damn it, Kiria, ruining everything yet again.
Hopefully, like we only got most of that characterization from the other characters because we've known them for a couple episodes now for each. So hopefully we get some more stuff going with it. As for the things that we talked about last episode with some of the bugsters having personalities that matched their games, this one
not so much.
This one not so much, mostly because
and
they needed to do something with him, and usually characters from racing games have literally no personality,
right.
Or in some cases straight up don't exist.
Absolutely. And this one, unlike the 3 previous ones, doesn't target the stress factors of the person's life. It just kind of does what it's ordered to by graphite, I guess.
Well, it did and didn't, because his whole deal was that he kidnapped the guy's sister
to stress him out.
And well, yeah, because it seemed pretty clear that, rather unfortunately, in another very Japanese type thing, the guy, the person of the week that they needed to help had a very serious sister complex.
Wow.
So
okay.
Yeah.
I would not take it that far. I would just say that it is an older brother, and it can be assumed that a sibling would care about another sibling. Although this is kind of a trope with Makoto and a dozen anime characters.
It is absolutely a trope with Makoto. There was a point in Ghost where they went to a place where all their dreams came true. And
that didn't happen in Ghost.
It absolutely did, and Makoto had a fucking room full of his sister in different weird cosplay. That part of Ghost was bad.
She was just
a bad part of Ghost.
She was just multi-talented and had many careers. It had nothing to do with the costumes. He just wants to see his sister grow up to be multi-talented and pursue a career of her dreams.
He literally said there are so many of his sister in the room, and he got very, very happy about it. It was bad.
Oh, God.
Makoto is bad.
Oh, my God.
He's a bad man. I love him, but they wrote him bad sometimes.
Radical Apollo coming down hard with the truth about Makoto. Spoiling the Kamen Rider Spectre movie coming up.
I don't want that to become more of a thing in the Spectre movie.
Well,
it's already too much of a thing.
I mean, the Spectre movie, from what we know about the plot so far, it's going to reveal all the secrets about Makoto. It's going to explain the whole Makoto doppelganger thing. It's going to reveal Kanon's secret. It's going to unravel the mysteries.
Well, hopefully it is not something bad. I don't want.
Do you know what the
bad?
Do you know what the plot hole is in Ghost that they're definitely probably going to cover in this movie?
Mostly just all of the clone Makoto stuff that.
Oh no! The clone Makoto stuff all made. If you could rationalize it, it made a fair amount of sense. But what's the other thing that just went completely unexplained? Not even a half explanation. What's the other thing about these characters that went completely unexplained?
Fuck. I mean, I guess one of the bigger things is that we never got a proper explanation of what the,
Yes?
What the, icon, fuck, what's that? The Deep Spectre icon. We never got a proper explanation of what that was all about. We knew it drew from the power of the...
That's not what I'm talking about. There's a deeper mystery.
Fuck.
I'll give you a hint. It's from the early part of the show.
Fucking...
What mystery went completely unexplained that everyone forgot about?
I forget.
All right, I'll give you the answer now. How did Canon end up in that icon in the first place?
Oh, well, easy enough. The way that happened is that, like, in the show, because of the way that things work, her body was probably...
But that was never confirmed.
It was never confirmed, but, like, they could
I don't know
probably
about that.
explain it away with that. They could, like, they don't need a big explanation for it. They can probably just explain it away with pre-established world stuff.
Okay, but do you agree with me that that one is easily the least explained one?
I guess so. Like, I feel like the things that I brought up are slightly more important, but
I just don't like how this part, like this important part of Canon's story, what little of it there is just like completely unexplained, and that Canon exists mostly as a background character and once or twice for a short dark period just as a damsel in distress.
Yeah, it like, Ghost was really good, but it wasn't perfect, and like because of that, Canon suffered as a character for the most part.
We got those parallels to this episode with the damsel in distress.
Gladly enough, Canon never got to like this specific level.
Not even when Javert kidnapped her right after the boost icon thing.
I mean, true, but like, even then, it didn't end up that bad. I don't know. I mean,
they're both exactly, literally the situation of I'm going to kidnap this woman, this girl, important in your life, in order to provoke a fight between me and the Kamen Riders.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, if you boil it down, it's essentially the same thing.
I think, like, the main difference is that, like, in this case, it was a character that we, as like, viewers also cared about, where in this case, it was a one-off, like, character, and I feel like that's a worse thing to keep as a regular thing to happen. As, like, so far we've had 2 one-off damsel in distress in, like, tied up situations type things, fucking tied up to the rail tracks or whatever, and
it just seems like after last episode that this episode seems particularly, maybe not last episode, but like last week's discussion, it seemed like after that, like, this week seemed particularly bad.
I think that it would have been more fine if it was just the monster, like, targeting the brother, or possibly the other way around, where the monster came from the sister and was targeting the brother. But the fact that, for, like, as things go, every other week now we have had a damsel in distress tied to the rail tracks as
I mean, it's only 4 episodes, but yes, 2 out of 4 were that.
Wait, what?
I mean, it's only 4 episodes, but you're right in that 2 out of 4 episodes, it's that situation.
And in the end, I hope that it really does stop being that thing. It is becoming a bit of a problem where I don't want it to always be this, like, female character of the week is tied up and can't get out and needs a Kamen Rider to come save her, while the person that's close in her life is fading away because she's in danger. It like, that's 2 times in 4 weeks, and it's like, I do love X8 a lot, and I will defend it a ton. And I don't think that it is heading in a bad situation yet, but that's another big part of why I said that I can see it if it keeps on in this kind of space that it's in. I can see it ending up in a bad situation of just doing the same thing over and over again. At least in that quality.
All right. I'm sorry that like I've been kind of a downer for like this later half of the podcast. Like, it's just I had some stuff that like I thought like I still think that like it was seriously needed to like talk about these things.
Well, I don't mind talking about it, and like, don't let it be said that I'm not passionate about these kinds of issues that are happening in the show. As things go, it's just that like I do feel ever so slightly exhausted when only negative stuff comes up.
I know.
And I wanna. That's why we have this podcast going on both the positive and negatives, and what we liked and what we don't like about it.
Right. And I wanted to say like sorry because I like started out this episode being like we should be more positive, and then I kind of dragged things down into the negative.
Don't worry about it.
But okay. I don't think we have anything else we want to say negative about this episode.
I don't really have a whole lot more to say in general about this episode. It was like some of the stuff in it was not great. Some of it was all right in general, but like
Poppy's ringtone was cute.
Yeah, it was.
That's a weird thing for me to say, but I just liked it.
And in general, go ahead.
I
talk about how much you like Poppy's ringtone some more.
I'm so
weirdo.
sorry. I'm sorry. I just liked it. I don't mean anything weird by that. I just like the ringtone. I like things. I'm allowed to like things that are cute without it being weird.
Yeah, I believe you.
Oh God.
You don't gotta justify yourself to me, anyways. Like, in general, I really like this episode, despite some of the things that were in it that I didn't like so much. But I can understand the exhaustion that is coming out of it right now. And like it probably doesn't help that like people are getting just a bit burnt out on tokusatsu, I think. Not so much in its like not so much the things that are going on with the series in general, not so much the plot in them, which people seem to be still fairly into it in general as far as that goes. But regarding the tropes that are
kind of bullshit,
in it, regarding wait, what?
Regarding just like the few elements of the genre that are kind of bullshit.
Yeah, regarding some of the ongoing themes, regarding some of the more like prevalent themes of the time, we see just people exhausted at Xiozhi. We're not going to have this conversation again with the pronunciation. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Why are you fighting me?
I'm fighting you because Mage isn't here.
Oh jeez.
And like we see it in some of the less liked tropes that are happening in X8, even if they aren't really prevalent yet. The fact that they are even showing up at all is causing people to just be like, again with this. And I do get that, but like I am definitely starting to see that people are just kind of like they're tired of some of the stuff that is a constant in tokusatsu, and maybe it's time to like go to some other stuff and like check that out for a bit. If this isn't like me saying if you don't like it, get out. This is me saying maybe it's just time to check out other stuff. You might just
take a break.
Burned out on it.
Take a break. Drink some water.
It's good for you.
Yeah. Listen to our Kamen Rider X8 podcast where we tell you to maybe stop watching Tokusatsu for a little while.
It's fine. Like,
hey,
that isn't saying not to listen to this podcast. We can still give you the hottest fucking takes around.
Yeah, even if you aren't watching Kamen Rider
breakdown.
X8, listen to us every week because we're gonna let you know everything that's important to know about each week's episode, and we're gonna keep going.
If you don't know what
we're gonna keep going no matter what.
If you don't know what Kamen Rider is, watch our podcast. We'll give you the breakdown.
Watch our audio-only medium.
Just watch our show. Give us likes. Subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe, please. Okay, forget liking and subscribing, but seriously comment and like talk to us and tell us stuff because like yeah,
we like to hear that stuff.
Yeah, tell us we're bad. Tell us we're good. Tell us specific things. Tell us what you liked about this episode.
Tell us specifically that we're very good.
Hey, everybody out there, I want you to reach into your wells of positivity and tell us something that you liked about this episode.
I want everyone that listened to this podcast all the way to the end to like leave a single comment on this video.
Don't do that to them.
Just have it say nice. Just say nice.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Like, just say nice.
Oh, that feels so underhanded.
Do it.
You're not their dad. Don't guilt trip them.
I'm not guilt tripping you. Just say nice. Just say the single word, nice.
Oh, jeez. I think that's more manipulative than you realize.
No.
All right. I mean, you're free to disagree.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just stating.
Oh, so you agree that it's manipulative?
I agree with myself that they should say nice.
Well, they should definitely say something. Maybe they should not just say nice.
Well, we haven't gotten any
okay, bye.
Video yet.
I think this podcast is officially over.
It's fine.
Oh, jeez.
Goodbye, everybody. We will see you next week when good stuff happens and we have
when the genre of video games well known as robots. I guess that's a genre happens.
It's going to be based on Super Robot Wars.
Is that really the only robots game?
It's like the fucking jingle sounds like Jam Project.
Oh, damn.
Which does, like, they do not exclusively Super Robot Wars, but almost all Robot War games have Jam Project. So.
Robots.
Like, yeah.
Robots.
He also looks like a Gundam.
Spectre.
But come back next week when we talk about robots and big jerk-off arms.
And we talk less about Oniichans and Spectre.
Maybe?
Oh.
Maybe.
You think we're gonna have a reason to?
Did we have a reason this week to actually talk about the Spectre outside of tenuous reasons?
You brought up Oniichans.
No, we didn't. Well, we sorta did, but like... We didn't know that going in. This wasn't the plan.
Oh, God.
We didn't have a fucking plan going in proper, like, we don't plan for this podcast. It'll ruin it.
You gotta Mamoru those little sisters that you definitely have.
This podcast sucks.
Oh my god! I've defeated you! I've crushed your spirit! I'm so sorry!
This podcast is bad.
No!
You're blowing out your mic, you madman.
Oh god, I'm so sorry. Oh jeez. I'm cutting that shit out. You're not allowed to say that.
Anyway, no.
Oh god.
Leave it in.
We already ended the podcast. Unedited.
Hey, we're starting the podcast over. Hey, we're...
No. Oh jeez. Okay.
We've been going on for 2 hours. We're ending this here. Bye, everybody. We love you very much. This has been rad. And go to my Tumblr.
It'll be in the description. Don't worry about this. Bye.
Good podcast.
What a mess!